Hey, remember what I said going into this game. I don't care how you get it, but on Thursday Night Football, heading into the mini bye, you just needed to win. And that's what the Browns did. They won. We got some great performances from some other guys. Some people stepped up, and the Browns won this game. They found a way to win it. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it in more detail. But before I do that, I want to make sure I give a shout out to the patreon.com dog check tier members. I'm going to start with Michael Matique, Cam Vex, Jaleel Salim Jr. and Sr., Caleb Pickering, Benjamin Woods, Michael Terry, Sam28, Wani Boy, Rob Morehouse, Tyler Chiz, Michael Morales, Mark Kahn, Max Haymaker, Nick Merrick, D.A.J., Joe Hart, Gabriel Wilson, Fred Pat III, David Valtiar, Relentless Buck, Rex Kaufman, Kevin Johnson, Cleveland Cart, Matt H., Sign Sheets, Gemini, Leon Freeman, Fight 3074, Chunt, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hondo Magnifico, Cal Stoffer, Lukey from Munich, Dave Aroff, J Guy 101, Musty Taco, Brad Cowbo, Dylan W, James McGinley, Arendal, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Josh Spindor, Austin Rich, Mark M, Stuart Moore, Dylan Hill, Cleveland BCI, Robert Germain, Dave Mike May, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bayer, Batman, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman 069, Masayua, Butts Roland, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Sean Barron, Goggles Pisano, Dom Gazzulo, Nick Nasty, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Christian, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Billy, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, Dog Pound Kai, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Lydia Mahawk, Alexander Davis, Chris Falms, Picktown Browns backer, Max Nilakenko, Max Al Dojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much. And also, don't forget to catch me on AFC North Talk tomorrow, as I'll be live and in person with Ace, Sonny, and Tony. It's been a long time coming. First time we're going to meet up in person. First time we're going to have a live in-person AFC North Talk. So I'm excited for that, and I hope you are too. And we're going to discuss the Browns win and some other games, and maybe even possibly Browns Steelers on that show too. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Make sure you're looking forward to that. But now let's talk about the game. Where's Gus Johnson when you need him, right? Because he is the one commentator that can perfectly encapsulate what happened for the Cleveland Browns, who stepped up. And he's done it once before, and he did it like this, right? When it was Cardale Jones, he did the Cardale Jones. Well, this week is D'Ernest Johnson. Stepped up, man. And I want to take a second here to appreciate the story that D'Ernest Johnson is. Look, we talk a lot about what's the future and what the implications are, and we kind of ruined the fun of football for ourselves by worrying about what's going to happen 10 weeks or 5 weeks from now or whatever it is. But sometimes you just need to appreciate what's in front of you. And what's in front of the Cleveland Browns and Browns fans is a wonderful story. I mean, D'Ernest Johnson is a dude who has been fighting for his football career for like the last 4 years, right? He's a guy who came from the Orlando Apollos. That's not the XFL, by the way. That's the AAF, the spring league that folded before the XFL. They had the Birmingham team with like Trent Richardson. They signed Johnny Manziel at some point. This is the league that this dude was in, right? Trent Richardson and Johnny Manziel once played in the same football league as this man, and it wasn't college. You know what I mean? So he was grinding it out there with the Orlando Apollos. I believe he was coached by Steve Spurrier at the time. That league folds in the middle of the season, and him and Garrett Gilbert get picked up by the Cleveland Browns. Now, Garrett Gilbert's gone on to, carve out a nice niche for himself as a NFL backup, fringe backup, kind of third string guy, which is good for him. But D'Ernest is a dude who, for the last 3 seasons, has been on the Cleveland Browns roster, right? He has lived in the shadow of the best running back tandem in the NFL for 3 years. He has found a way to stay on this team. And he has found ways to stay on this team with real challenges to his spot, right? I mean, this year, Demetric Felton, they draft him, comes in, challenges him pretty good. But the coaching staff believes in both him and Demetric so much, they still keep D'Ernest on the roster when everybody else, including me in the world, thought this might be it for Dearness, right? Because most teams don't keep 3 running backs or more than 3 running backs. Most teams cut the 3rd running back, and they never let go of Dearness Johnson. He had some big moments last year when they needed him, when Chubb went down, and he had to get the run there against against the Colts, right? And then he had a couple of other moments against the Dallas Cowboys once everybody else went out, but he had never gotten a full game, a full start to show what he can do as a NFL running back. And whether he has a big career after this, whether he gets paid, I don't know what the future is for Dearness Johnson, but I do know that Dearness will always have this game, this moment, right? Not a lot of people pass through the NFL, and they pass through on practice squad rosters and barely active to active and all of that. And they never get to make a mark. They never get to have a game where they can point to, their kids or their family members and say, hey, I used to play in the NFL. You pop on this game, you see what I could do in the NFL, right? Not everybody gets that. It's reserved for a very select few that go out and strap up and play football for a living. And Dearness, if he has nothing else, if this leads to nothing else for him, right? If he doesn't get a big contract or whatever it is, I don't know what the future is for him. I don't know if he's going to have another big game next week. But what I do know is that Dearness will always have this Thursday night football game. He will be able to show his kids this. He'll be able to show his family this. He'll be able to show his family the tweet that LeBron James sent forever and ever on. Dearness Johnson, somebody who's been struggling, dude, was DMing AAF teams 4 years ago to find a way to sneak on their roster. Dude's been scrapping, fighting for his football career like that. And now he has this game, this moment. He has made a mark in football. Nobody can ever take that away from Dearness. I'm so happy that Dearness got that. This is one of the scrappiest guys on the roster, one of the toughest guys on the roster, and one of the most stable. This dude's been here for 3 years as the 3rd string running back. And I'm so happy that he got his NFL moment, because so many guys, even guys who are drafted really high in the draft, they never get that moment. He got that moment, right? He won't have to show college football tapes when people ask him if he was good at football. He gets to show them an NFL game against him, going against the best in the world and dominating. Shout out to Dearness Johnson. I don't want any other narrative or conversation or whatever to take away from Dearness Johnson, man. He really came out, stepped up, and played huge. Like, we didn't need Chubb or Hunt because he was both today. And that's something special. I hope this leads to great things, obviously, for Dearness, but even if it doesn't, he has this, and this ain't nothing. This is something. So shout out to Dearness Johnson. But, Case Keenum played in this game as well. And look, I'm not going to get carried away with Case Keenum like I see some people get carried away. But Case Keenum gave you exactly what you wanted Case Keenum to give you, which is, hey, if Dearness or the running game's running well and we can get them 3rd and shorts, we're going to be able to move the ball with the pass game a little bit. We're going to be able to do some things as passing, but we're not going to be able to do the most complicated things, right? We saw him go down the field like 3 times, and he almost got picked off twice. So we know what it is and what the limitations are with Case Keenum. He'll be fine in that short part of the field. He can be serviceable in select situations in the intermediate part of the field, and he's really not a go for the downfield part of the field. You can't really do it with him. We know what those limitations are. That's why he's a backup in the NFL. That's why he's not a starter. But if you keep the game simple, if you stay ahead, if you allow yourself to control the pace of the game like the Browns did today, and stay in 3rd and manageable most of the time, then you're going to be able to use Case Keenum fine. You're going to be able to survive with Case Keenum. But if you ever get down, that's when, Case Keenum starts to get exposed a little bit. But the Browns did a really good job of playing team football and making sure that Case never got in a situation where it would have been, I want to say too big for him because he's not like a rookie or anything, but never got in a situation where his limitations would become an issue. So good on Case Keenum. Didn't throw an interception. Kept the game clean. Got the ball out when he needed to. And that's really all I really wanted from Case Keenum and expect from Case Keenum is just play solid football, right? Just get the ball, short chunks. That's it. So good on Case Keenum. The offensive line, they played so much better today. Oh, my goodness. It brought me so much joy to see Jedrick Wills out there, and the Browns have a serviceable offensive line again, right? Jedrick came out there, and he didn't look like hurt Jedrick. He looked like Jedrick, and that was so relieving to see, man. Jedrick has had a rough go of it. He's been playing injured. He's really been battling. He needed to sit a few games. He sat a few games. Now he looks like he's back to being himself. So that's great to see. Hopefully when Jack comes back, Jack looks like himself again, and hopefully he can come back for Pittsburgh. So that's important, right? Because I felt like the run game, you were able to do more off tackle. You're able to lean on his side more with a starting tackle in there. You're able to trust it a lot more, have more time in the passing game. It was a breath of fresh air to have Jedrick Wills out there. So happy to see him back. So happy to see him play well. So happy to see him get through a whole game. I know Jarvis got shaken up late in that game. It looked bad at first, but apparently it's nothing. He was at the post-game presser. That means he wasn't getting worked on medically, which means he's fine. So Jarvis is fine. Odell's working through an injury. It looked like it flared up during the game. He had like 4 drops almost early in the game. He didn't look great in the first half. Second half, he got a couple of catches in, looked a lot more like himself. It was up and down. You could tell he was hurt. That was definitely affecting his play. But, he gets 10 days. He'll probably be rested and healed up, or as healed up as he can be going into that Pittsburgh game. So that's good news there. Austin Hooper had himself a decent game. David Njoku had himself a solid game. Offensively, you didn't play like lights out because you only put up 17 points. But you played well enough, given the circumstances, right? You played as well as you would hope. And when you were out there offensively, you didn't score every time, but you killed a lot of clock while you were out there, which was a key point in this game, right? You wanted to win time of possession. The offense did its part in winning time of possession. Defensively, the first half, they were lights out. I feel like the only quarter they were kind of shaky in was the third, and that was like 1 or 2 drives in the third. But first half they were lights out. Third quarter they're a little shaky. Fourth quarter they lights out again. I'll take it, right? Myles Garrett, 1.5 sacks. I think all 3 of those sacks were half sacks for Myles Garrett, and he just got 3 to add it up to 1.5. He's having a monster season, by the way. It's the least talked about monster season I've ever heard of. The man has 9.5 sacks in 7 games, and it's like nobody notices. But yeah, Myles Garrett, really good today. Jadeveon Clowney, really good today. Malik McDowell, really good today. The defensive line is good. The linebackers struggled a little bit. They were all backups in there except for Anthony Walker. We had Taki and I think it was Malcolm Smith in parts, but it was really Mack Wilson most of the time. It's a far cry from having JOK out there, and I think you did miss JOK when they were doing those screen pays and all the short stuff that JOK is really good at just snuffing out and getting rid of. It's a luxury that you love to have, and when it's not out there, you miss it a ton. So that was not great, but, I felt like the corners held up pretty well, and the safety play was a lot better. I noticed they moved John Johnson closer to the ball, and where do you know? John Johnson has his first good game of the year, right? He gets a key stop on a rundown, and then he also gets an interception in the red zone. So shout out to John Johnson. Who knew? It only took him being closer to the football for him to make more plays. All in all, I felt like this was a good team win. Look, you were banged up coming into this game. You had all this drama, all this, you lost to Arizona. People are freaking out. People want everybody fired. Baker gets hurt. It's like a whirlwind situation on if he's going to play or not. You don't know who's here. You got 37% of the roster on the freaking injury report, so you barely practice in a short week anyways, and you had to win this game. There was nothing stress-free about going into this game, and they put it together. Their back was against the wall, and they played some good football today. I felt like they really did play some good football in parts. So this is a performance to be proud of. Look, it's Denver at the end of the day, and I don't think Denver's going to win 10 games. I don't think Denver's probably going to win more than like 7 games this year. So keep in mind, this is not a good team that you just beat, but it was the win that you needed to give yourself a chance to get healthy, to give yourself a chance to still keep this season at float and on path. So, yeah, it wasn't a win against a great team. Yeah, you should take some of the takeaways from this game with a grain of salt. Yeah, there are some things to be a little cynical about, but at the end of the day, you needed to win this game. And this isn't a week where the Browns could be picky about how they win or what they win because they're not healthy at all. They don't have their starting running backs, quarterbacks, all that stuff. So, not a week to be picky. You needed a win. You got the win, and I'm happy with that. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Again, guys, thank you for watching. I want you guys to have a great day. Have a good night.